Hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm reaching out to all of you beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight was earlier. What a beautiful day! Yes, it was a beautiful day, a nice breeze, and so anyway, make sure you make time. That's what we got to do sometimes, is make ourselves do things, that our ego wants to do. The ego wants to do, I don't know, what does the ego want to do? Play video games or something like that, where, you want to break free from the computer or video games or being inside your house and come on out in nature with Starlight and all these other people, beautiful people out there. And I'll tell you what, if you have a hard time with people, going out for a hike is where you're going to meet some beautiful people. That is where people are so peaceful out on hiking trails. So it's a beautiful place to go. Most of the time when I go out for a hike, everybody is in the moment. They are enjoying, they're relaxed. They're not thinking about all their problems and all that. So that is the place that you want to go, not in the city. So anyway, I love you all. And if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. And you could find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight. And that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Oops, sorry. I'm kind of not an eye angle here. There you go. So yes, you could find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, you can give my videos a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't forget, don't be afraid, don't be shy. Swing by and say, "Hi, Starlight." And you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. Plus, you could share my videos with your family, your friends. A caterpillar, and I was gonna say the butterfly. I don't have my butterfly shirt on today, but yes, you could share my videos with a butterfly. And also, you could check out my playlist. Plus, you could find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. So I am in this square room here. These are the first times I ever used these rooms, and the reason why Starlight is doing this right now, some of the days have been too chilly. Today's windy, and Starlight wanted her hair down today, and believe me, it wouldn't have worked out good out there. And the wind will be in the background. It does. The wind, my camera picks up the wind so easily, and so Starlight is in here. And anyway, I want to always say thank you to all of you that are here, that been here from the beginning, or even has joined me not too long ago, or you've been here, sometime on my YouTube channel. Thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel, or giving me thumbs up, or even leaving me a comment, a positive comment. Thank you. And thank you for those of you who share my videos. So today is, some people don't know this. This is why I make videos, is because not everybody, knows the same information, which is good, because that means that we can learn from each other. There's things that that I might not know anything about. So that is what this is all about here, is to help other people, learn about things they might have never heard of or never thought of. And so today's video is about, did you know that dreams have meanings? Yeah, I am a dreamer. And in the Bible, I had to look it up because I read my Bible over and over again, but Starlight has a problem with the names and the stories, because I don't read my Bible every day like I was when I was younger, when I was going in church. But it was Joseph, the dreamer. And when I got to that part of the Bible, I was like, ooh, I'm all excited about this. So yes, dreams have meanings. So now, I don't know, I did talk to somebody new today, and it was great talking with that person. We were talking about dreams. So this is what kind of got me to talk about this in this a dream. This is a video that I wanted to discuss anyway, because just like yesterday, that was a twist of a video, and you know, it is what it is. But today I wanted to kind of reach out to all of you that, you know, you might know about angel numbers, you might understand about numbers, but dreams is another way that God can help you out. Now, some of you are like, I never dream. Yes, you do. Everybody dreams, but some people, for some odd known reason, sometimes it could be medications. Medications can really do a lot of strange things with people, with why, you know, they could even have the craziest, weirdest dreams on medications, or all kinds of different things. But medication could be one of those things that, because that happened to me before, is I was on a medication. I was dreaming all the time, every night. Had a dream journal by my bed. Bam, you know, after so many days after being on this medication, I was frustrated. I wasn't getting any dreams because I couldn't figure out what God was trying to tell me. Because, you know, if you're struggling in life and you're having some hard times, and it could be anything, any kind of problem. It's not always just about jobs, relationships. You know, it's life sometimes. You know, it's life that happens to us sometimes, where, you know, it's a endless kind of things out there that could possibly, you could be going through. So Starlight cannot sit here and guess all the possibilities of what you're struggling with. So you know what you're struggling with and dealing with. So another way that God and the universe can speak to you is through your dreams. So I did make a video a long while back about dreams, but I want to bring this up because I have new people. And like I said, I talked to a gentleman today, you know, and we had a great conversation. He was into the numbers, he was in the dreams. So it was beautiful to talk to somebody that gets it with the numbers, but not everybody gets it with the numbers. They don't understand it, they don't believe it, you know. So with dreams, like Starlight had this crazy ass dream this morning, you know, which I told a special friend of mine out there about my dream, you know. And dreams are something that you gotta watch out for. I have to let you know this ahead of time, is your dreams, when you have one, you never know who you're talking to. So if you're telling somebody your dream, it's a good thing to know if you can trust them. And you might think that's crazy because, you know, there's dreams that will tell you about stuff that you have no clue about. And when you interpret those dreams, it could have very valuable information that you know, if somebody knows that dreams have meanings and you go and tell somebody about your dream, and you're really giving information out there that, you know, is about you. It could say, you know, it could warn you about there's danger in your life right now. And it's the way the universe is like, hey, you know, you got to be careful. It could be dreams can let you know, no matter how crazy and wild the dream can be, like I was talking to this gentleman today, is that it could be a really scary dream. Like Starlight had a crazy ass dream this morning. I was, you know, like being relaxed because it was an animal dream. At the same time, I was like, wow, you know, this is much for me. I was able to wake up and I was all in one piece, you know, which sometimes scary dreams, you know, like, that's a horrible dream. What does that mean? And so you can interpret those by having a dream study, you know, having a book, which I don't have mine here, it's in my car, a dream journal book. So you definitely, you know, it's wise to get a, you know, a good thick book, you know, a good sized notebook, and write on it, you know, your name, like I do with mine, is Starlight's Dream Journal, you know. That way I don't have to go through a whole bunch of notebooks. And it's wise to have like a lamp next to your bed and a pen, a nice stand next to your bed with a lamp and a pen. And so when you do a dream journal, is you're going to want to hopefully remember the date. Sometimes you're going to be sleeping. Sorry, Starlight's got to scoot up here my back. You might not remember the date, but that's okay. Is that what you want to do is when you wake up, find out what the date is, write it down on the top somewhere. And sometimes it's really important to the date, like what day it was, what time of the year, so those are, you don't have to do those things, but because the date is going to tell you what time of the year it was it summertime when you had this dream, or wintertime, depending on what state you are, like was there snow, but with a dream is that you want to write down every detail. And when you wake up from a dream, I'll tell you what, is that when, say you just woke up from a dream and you're laying down still, and it's here, you got it up there in your headspace, you're like, wow. I mean, because dreams can be amazing. They can be scary, twisted, weird, funny, odd, all kinds of crazy stuff can go on in your dream. Sexual, there's times that you can have, sexual dreams, where you might see body parts of, a man or a woman, or all kinds of crazy ass things can happen to you. You can have flying dreams, but whatever it is, when you get done having a dream and you're still laying down, don't try to move. Unless you got to go pee. That's normally how Starlight wakes up from her dreams, is that I got to go to the bathroom. And then bam, there I'm like, no, I loved that dream. And so in dreams, when you have to use the bathroom, there's times that you actually might be in the dream using a toilet at the same time, knowing that, while you're sleeping, that you actually literally have to wake up because you got to use the toilet. That's happened to me many times, so you definitely don't want to mess your pants in the middle of the night, because you think you're on a real toilet when you're only dreaming about going to the bathroom in a dream state. So it is so important to, when you wake up from the dream, no matter if it's in the middle of the night, you can ask Archangel Gabriel. Archangel Gabriel, this is what I did last night, and it worked out because I had a whole lot of dreams. You can see colors, you can hear, some people can't, some people can, so I do. I see colors, I can hear people, which I actually had this the other night, is that somebody was talking in my, in my dream and telling me, actually last night, this morning's dream. So if you have a hard time remembering your dreams, you can ask Archangel Gabriel. Archangel Gabriel, can you please help me to remember my dream by waking me up for work, or or you got to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, is that way you're dreaming and then you wake up and you got to go pee. So that would be the time that you're going to want to grab your notebook. And like I said, if there's times that that dream is still there and it's very vivid, is you want to grab that notebook, and especially if it's really vivid and not like it's a, like you kind of get bits and pieces. If you only getting parts of it here and there, you just want to lay down, and hopefully you don't have to go pee. And if you just lay down and just stay still and just relax and don't really think too much about it, you can ask Archangel Gabriel, please help me to remember the dream. I'm like you're getting bits and pieces, and you might be able to recall part of those dreams. Or sometimes you'll get, somebody will say something in the daytime and bam, oh wow, I remember you just said something, and now I remember my dream because that word triggered whatever was going on. Like symbols or different things that can trigger, anything could trigger you to remember your dream later on in the day, but that doesn't mean that it's always going to happen. So anything could trigger a color, an object, symbols, a person, when they say something, anything. So you want to remember from the beginning, and sometimes we can't remember the beginning because sometimes we remember like the middle part, and then when you remember that you're writing down the middle part, and then sometimes the beginning part will come out, you know, oh, wait a minute, now I remember how I got to this, you know, like a story in a book, you know, is that, you know, now you're like, oh, this was the middle part of the story, you know, and whenever you're getting any information from these dreams, you want to hurry up and write it down, even if it's a word. Elephant, you had an elephant in your dream, okay, write it down, you know. Was it a big elephant? Was it a baby elephant? What color, you know, was it, you know, what color was the elephant? Was it purple? You had a purple elephant in your, hey, anything could happen in a dream. And so so we all do remember our dreams. It just says, like I said, some people, they have a hard time. So, you know, there's other tricks Starlight has done when I was younger, getting myself to remember my dreams, and it really did work. So there are things that, you know, there's things that you could probably research, because this is what I had. This happened to me before, is somebody was helping me because I wasn't remembering my dreams for a period of time for some odd known reason. And this man told me to go to the crystal store and get all these rocks and stones and all this and that and put them under my pillow. And it's because I believed. It was a mind trick, you know, it really was. And I did. I put them under my pillow. And he says, within a week, you know, so every day I'm like, no dream. The next day, and I'm on like a third day or so, bam. And so you could, you know, there's got to be sites out there that can help you so you can remember. And it's all like, you're believing, okay, if I put these underneath my pillow, I'm going to start remembering my dreams. And it will work. But you got to believe it, you know, and that's what happened with Starlight. That person that told me about this, he was into crystals and candles and all this stuff, is that he told me I would get the strangest and weirdest dreams, and I'll tell you what, it worked. The first dream I did have, wow, Starlight was like running the whole time in her dream, you know, because it worked. And I'll tell you, the dream was where there's a man that was following me. It kind of reminded me of like the Friday the 13th. Starlight's like, or Freddy Cougar kind of thing, you know, where it's like Freddy, you know, coming after you in a dream. So the dream was where it was a man and he would chase me. And no matter where I was going, that man was always there. And he had like a hand like this and went boom like that. And his hand would go under the ground and still chase me, you know. So that was crazy, you know. And so, but you do have to, you know, just because you have a crazy scary dream like that, it doesn't mean that somebody's after you. But you gotta, you know, like in that dream, was it daytime or was it nighttime? You know, was it a tall guy? You know, I don't want to say he was fat, but, you know, was he an old man? So I had an old man following me around, you know. So you gotta, all the details, you know, like if you had I've had a lot of butterfly dreams about flying in the sky, you know, where throughout my life, first with a flying dream, first it was a big, huge fan outside, and it had, you know, it would blow the air. And so at first, just like they have like places like for people being an astronaut, you just jump and then you float. And that's exactly how I started my flying lessons. It was a big huge fan. And then years later, I'm like Superman. Now I don't need a fan anymore because, you know, I got better and better at flying. But so you want to write down any information that you see, you know. Was there people, you know, was it a lot of people? Was it one person? Was it a guy, a girl? You know, these are things that you want to, how did you feel about these people? Did you feel safe with them? Did you feel scared? How did they make you feel? These are really important, you know, things. Were you in a house? Whose house? Was it your house or was it somebody else's house? Was it a big house? Was it a mansion? Was it a small house? What was up with the house? You know, what are the details in the house? The people, did they have, you know, like if it was a female, did she have long hair, short hair? What color hair? Was she a young girl? Was she a little girl? You know, like, was there anything that stood out? Did she, like, was her voice okay? Did she talk funny? Or, you know, did she have big eyes? Or, you know, is there anything that stood out on this girl that you're like, huh, that was strange? You know, so you really do, you got to have, and it does take time. But you really want to write those down as, you know, even if it's just words, you know, and then you can later on, if you got to go to work in the morning, you're like, oh, Starlight, I don't have time for that in the morning. But at least if you write some details, the most important details of the dream, like I was flying. Where were you flying? You know, I was flying, you know, and this has happened many times with Starlight. I would be flying, and then there's poles, and then there was wires, and Starlight's like, ooh, I saw the wires, and I'm trying to Superman, I'm trying to fly without getting stuck. I didn't want to, you know, get electrocuted by the wires in the dream, you know. So it's like, ooh, okay, I gotta, you know, like do this really good. So Starlight's a professional with flying. All it has to do the weather is be a windy day, and you know, I don't even have to have a windy day, but you know, just jump right out and start flying. You know, it's awesome to have a flying dream. You might have dreams of being in water. Was it a stream? Was it a lake? Was it the ocean? How was the stream? Was it a smooth, nice, relaxing, calm stream? You know, or did it have a bunch of waves, you know, a bunch of, you know, current in that stream of water? Those are details that you have to write. You know, were you floating on the water? Were you in the water? Were you swimming? Were you with anybody? How deep, you know, did you go all the way underneath the water? Or were you just, you know, was your head out? You know, how did you feel? Were you scared? You know, so these are things that you have to explain. And then, you know, after you write all the details, and like I said, if there's times that you got bits and pieces, it's okay, because you're going to get the information. The information is going to come to you another way, and that's why it's so important to understand about numbers, that numbers have meanings. Same with colors. That's why you got to pay attention to the colors. Colors have meanings. And symbols. Was there any symbols in your dreams? Symbols have meanings. Was there animals? What kind of animal? It was a frog. What color was the frog? Was it big? Was it little? So these are the things. Did the frog talk to you and tell you something? Maybe that was a message from the universe. I've had animals talk to me. A dog literally sat there and, you know, do you ever hear your name? Has anybody ever called your name in a dream, where you hear your name in a dream? These are things that Starlight has had in her dreams. It's crazy and wild and fun and exciting and scary all at the same time. And that's why it's so fun. So when you get your dream written down, you write the date. And this is what I did a long time ago, is there's times that it was, you know, there was a storm outside that day. So whatever you're going through in the daytime is how you end up getting that dream. If you were worried and stressed out about something, not really trusting things, and, you know, stressed out about work or relationships or where you live, and, you know, you're not really comfortable in your skin, or, you know, you're going through stuff, that's what creates the dreams, is that because of the moment that you wake up, what were you thinking in that day? You know, what did you see that day? There could have been something that you saw that day that actually triggered you later on to having that dream. So when you interpret the dream, you want to write down all the details and then start from the beginning. What does it mean when it's a windy day in a dream mean? What does it mean when you're in your car in a dream mean? So whatever, you know, just always in a dream mean. Sometimes you got to break those things down, little pieces, you know, of information, because if you did a big, huge sentence, the computer really doesn't really, sometimes you got to break it down because you said too much information, and it's almost like the computer's confused, doesn't know what you're talking about. So sometimes you got to just do little pieces at a time. And yes, it does take a lot of work, but you really want to be able to get that dream interpreted throughout that day, so that way that information is going to help you with something tomorrow. You might need that information for something the next day that you're not even aware of, but God is helping you out by giving you this dream. So then, you know, you could see, like if you were in danger and you got a dream that, wow, you know, you're at risk of something happening to you, you know, or like if you get a dream about like that you're gonna, like a car accident or a family member, you know, that something bad is gonna happen to somebody or whatever, it will give you that time to prepare for it. And if you ignore the dream, well, then you're missing out on so many different things. Things could happen to you, and you like, oh, why did that? Like, how'd that happen? Well, you had a dream, but you didn't, you didn't pay attention. You got to pay attention to those dreams, because that is how the universe works and God works, is by doing this with you. I drove my family crazy, about my dreams. I had fun telling them. My kids would like, wow, you could have, it is so amazing. So you want to put all the information and, all the details, and interpret the dreams. And it does take time. I'm not kidding, especially if you don't know. Some people out there, they're professionals. They know what all these, like, what does it mean? And Starlight's been going through this a lot. Everywhere I've been going, I've been seeing a black cat. What is the black cat doing? This morning, I was on the road. See, you got to look at your daytime just like your nighttime as a dream. I got on the road, and I was going down a curvy hill, driving my car. There's people behind me, and on my right-hand side, there was a small, I believe it was a buck, or, I'm not sure if it was a buck or not, but there was a young deer that was right on the side of the road, and because it is a hill and a little trail where the deers come and pass. And that deer was so super smart, it stopped right there as I was coming through. So I got to see a deer. So what goes on in your daytime, act like it's your dream world, because really it's like your dream world anyway. We're in a matrix of stimulation here. So when you analyze the things that are going on in your daytime, you'll even understand more about what to expect on your journey in life. Sorry, Starlight's got to get a drink. I didn't bring my fan in here. I thought of my fan after I got in here. But yes, so like your daytime, when you meet people, look at what they're wearing, just like you're in a dream. You could find out, like Starlight's got peace earrings, and let's see, I'll just stand up really quick. I got these pants on to match my shirt. So there's people that have jewelry, necklaces, and this is what you kind of want to do in your daytime and nighttime. Yes, it does take time, and I don't do this all the time. There's certain things that stand out to me in the daytime that I'm like, something that really stood off on somebody. I'm like, huh, like I've seen a man a while back that had, I knew he was Scorpion because he had scorpion rings. Well, what does it mean? And what you can do is, what does it mean when a man is wearing a scorpion ring, a Scorpio ring, and a dream mean? And what else? I find a lot of knives. Recently, I just found a whole bunch of coins, like, what does it mean when you find coins in the woods in a dream mean? What does it mean, so you gotta, your daytime and nighttime, there's really, in a way, when it comes to understanding what's going on, you can get information to help you, and that's why even when you're driving on a road and there's a roadblock, a lot of times when there's a roadblock somewhere, something, I had to go around a different route. There's been times that I wanted to go to a coffee shop and there was construction work, and I still got into that coffee shop, but what I wanted, they didn't have. I wanted a bagel at that, Starlight's a bagel fan, but I haven't had a bagel in months. So I wanted a bagel, and I didn't want just any bagel, and they didn't have bagels in there. But it was like a roadblock that was stopping me from even getting there, because there was no freaking bagels in there anyway. So you got to pay attention, like to your daytime. There's, that roadblock and speed limit signs and all that stuff. Those are all clues to help you in your life, to help your life lot. It helps you out in so many ways. It's mind-blowing, believe me. I've been doing this for a long time, and I love doing it. I love checking out and finding out, what everything means, and that way it's a way of being, protecting yourself. Hey, there's times that you know, something happens where we can't get somewhere, like a roadblock, and that could be saving your life. You know, just like when I came out here, I was gonna drive to a certain area in California, but you know what? Somebody actually said Los Angeles, and it stopped me from driving anymore. If I kept on driving, I would have been parking my car, and then the fire started right in that area where I was heading. So you got to pay attention. Everything is all around. You got to not get so distracted in things on the computer and all this stuff, because there's information out here that's guiding you and helping you. But a lot, you know, have you ever seen something over and over and over again? Like this black cat? What's up with this black cat? So when you see something over and over again, it's like, hey, hello, you know, hello, I'm here. And if you ignore it, oh, there's just nothing. Bullshit. It's something you got to pay attention to. I love you so much. And so yeah, it is fun. It's exciting. So I want to say a huge thank you to all of you that are here loving and supporting me. And so anyway, my video is done here tonight. I love you so much. Pay attention, not just to your dream state, but you're in a awake state. You go to the park. What's at the park? What does it mean when you're in a park in a dreaming? What does it mean when you see a lake in a dreaming? What does it mean when you see people fishing? What does it mean, you know, that you see men catching a fish? You know, that's where Starlight was, is at a park that had a lake. You know, what does it mean? You know, you see a picnic table in a dreaming. How about a playground in a dreaming? So it's a whole lot of information there, but you don't want to overdo it, you know, because you got to have balance in your day. So you don't want to overdo it, but there's so much information, and the more you do that, you're like, oh, a playground. Oh, I know what that means. A bicycle. I know what a bicycle means because I've had so many bicycle dreams. Balance, you know, because you got to have balance to be on the bike, but there's so many different interpretations about what's going on with the bike. What color is the bike? Did you fall off? Was the handlebars there? Did the chain break? You know? So anyway, I love this. My family thought I was crazy, you know. I am not crazy. I'm just waking up. I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.